Welcome, folks, to lecture number 2 of DLR revision series. This lecture is about Venn diagram. I hope you have seen the previous one and you have attempted both the quizzes before attending this session. All right. So, before we start a session, let's touch upon something very basic. I am sure all of you know this, but just wanted to touch upon as a revision. Okay. Guys, suppose uh, there is a shop, okay, which sells three things: chocolate, biscuits, and lollipops. Okay. Now let's, for the sake of discussion, say that everybody who comes into the shop buys at least something. Okay. And let's say this is my Venn diagram. Okay. Guys, quickly tell me, will there be a number outside the Venn diagram? Will there be a number outside the Venn? No, right? Because we have established that everybody who's coming in is buying something or the other. Okay. All right. Now, the concept here I'm trying to cover is something which I've seen a lot of you guys getting confused into. And this is also the concept which we are going to use for one or two sets that we are going to discuss today. So, just wanted to clarify it for everybody. Okay. Now, guys, in this Venn diagram, if I ask you how many people came into the shop, what will your answer be? I don't care about the number. How will you derive your answer? Simply, we will add all the numbers which are there on the screen. Yes. So the number of people who have come into the shop will be nothing but 1 plus 2 plus 3, 4 plus 5 plus 6 and plus 7. Okay. That will be equal to 28. Okay. All right. Now, guys, if I ask you what is the total number of items which are sold, what will you do in that case? What will you do in the case where I ask you how many items were sold from the shop? You will take instances, correct? Absolutely. So, for example, one here means this person, whoever, there was one person who came into the shop and bought only one chocolate, correct? Similarly, this means there were six people who came into the shop and purchased a biscuit and a lollipop. I hope this is pretty straightforward. Yes. So, if I have to calculate what is the total number of items which were sold, it will basically be 1 into 1 plus 3 into 1 plus 7 into 1, okay, plus 2 into 2 plus 4 into 2 and plus, sorry, um, plus 6 into 2, and whole of this will be added with 5 into 3, which will give you 50. Fair enough. This is the approach. Yes. Okay. Now let's understand a couple of things over here. If I ask you the same thing again, how many chocolates were sold? We can just tell that. How many people bought chocolate? Again, the same logic. Guys, do you notice something over here? This 28 is basically the sum of exactly 1 plus exactly 2 plus exactly 3. Do you agree? The number of people that we figured out, the 28. So that tells us the number of people in the diagram. Okay. And that's exactly 1 plus exactly 2 plus exactly 3. Whereas if I had to figure out the number of items which are sold, or it could have been number of votes which have been put, or anything else, right? We got 50, which is nothing but 1 into exactly 1 plus 2 into exactly 2 plus 3 into exactly 3. Agreed? I know it's very basic, but it's important that we understand this, right? So when I calculate the chocolate, which is 9 plus 3, 12, biscuits is 11 plus 6, 11 plus 5, 16, and lollipop is 12 plus 10, 22. This 50 is basically the sum of these three numbers, right? And this 28 is basically the sum of the numbers inside the Venn diagram. I hope everybody is clear with this. Again, sounds very basic, but trust me, this is the thing that we're going to use in the very first set that we will discuss. Okay? Anybody, any doubts in this? All right. So let's move to discussing the first set of our test. Okay? Guys, how many of you were not able to solve this or found this a little difficult? Anybody who found this a little difficult or were not able to solve? Everybody was able to solve it? Okay. Okay. All right. Tushar, Tanish. All right. So you guys, Devesh, you are my target audience for this discussion. Okay. So now tell me this. Let's read the question together. The following table provides details of 4,200 people who participated in an opinion poll related to Indian politics conducted by CNN. Okay. The opinion poll comprised of 4 queries, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And each person who participated in the poll answered at least one query. Again, this just tells us that there is nobody which is being counted who has not voted. Okay. Minimum maximum ages of the persons in each group are given in the brackets. Okay. For example, in Mumbai, there is at least one person who is age 25 and there's at least one person who's age 60, both of whom have answered query 1. Okay. Straightforward. Note that no person belonged to more than one city and a person might have answered more than one query. Everybody clear with this paragraph and the conditions? Pretty straightforward and pretty self-explanatory, right? So let's see what the table is looking like. Guys, can you tell me what is this number? What is 1112 over here denoting? 1112 basically tells me how many people from Mumbai have voted. Correct? Yes. And the numbers in the column, this 300, 312, 292, and 325, they are telling me the number of people who have voted query 1, query 2, query 3, and query 4. And since we already know, there could be more than one query answered by one person. Okay. Similarly, these numbers tell me the number of times query 1 has been answered, and so on and so forth. Right. So table reading is pretty clear, I hope. So now, guys, in this, if I want to find out how many people from each city might have answered more than one query, what is the first step that I would need? What is the first step? Think from the example that we just discussed. If I had to find out the number of people who have answered more than one query, what could be the um, first step? See, what we have established as a fact is all these people, right? All of them have answered at least one query. Everybody agrees with that? That is known to us. Yes? Okay. So if I add these numbers, I am decently sure the number will be greater than 1112. Yes. And when I subtract those two sums that I get, is when I head towards calculating what is the uh, number of people who have answered more than one query. Do you agree? So I need to first get the sum and subtract and then see what I need to do out of it. Yes, that's the first step. Because like we discussed over here as well, if something in this was missing, so I would find the n, I would find the total. And this subtraction here, which is 22, is essentially going to tell me the number of instances which are more than once, thereby helping me derive these other numbers in the Venn diagram. Okay. So same logic. Is everybody with me? Okay. Take it. Now, questions are saying what is the minimum number of persons from the 4 cities? Okay. There is a maximum number, and maximum percentage. Okay. We'll come to that. So let's say I do this, right? This is exactly what we have discussed. We had 1112. I added all the numbers that we had in the columns. Okay. So 300, 312, 292, and 325 will give me a 1229. And the same has been done for all the cities. Okay. And the row here is basically the difference between these two numbers. Okay, just a very first basic step that we need to do in order to move forward in this set. Now, once I've done this, becomes very simple. Let's see. Question number one. What is the minimum number of persons from four cities together who answered more than one query? Now, guys, tell me. Here I will have people who have answered 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? This number so is there. So I know that everybody has answered at least one query. That is always there. If I have to minimize the number of people who have answered more than one query, what will I do theoretically speaking? What will I do if I have to calculate? Maximize 4. Absolutely. Guys, I want to minimize the number of people. So I will maximize the number of queries answered by per person. Does that make sense? I need to minimize the number of people who have answered more than one. Minimize. So I will maximize the number of queries each person answered. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do that. Since this logic is very straightforward. Here in Mumbai. Okay. Now let's say I take Mumbai and I start with 117. This is the difference, right? Between the number of queries answered and between the number of people. So what I will do is first I will assume that all the people who have voted in Mumbai have given their one vote. Okay? So I know these 1112 people have given their one vote. And the rest of the 117 I need to attribute to the four answered queries. Okay, are you with me? So what do I divide this with? What do I exactly the mistake, Akash, I didn't want you to make. Since I told you I've already taken one query answered by these people, the difference is what I will divide with. So there are 3 more queries which each of this person is answering. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I am trying to maximize the number of queries per person. And so what I'm doing over here is I am trying to assume and minimize the number of people who have answered 2 and 3 queries to be as low as possible or 0 if possible. Thereby breaking my complete group into either 1 query or 4 queries as far as possible. Only then I will be able to absolutely minimize the number. Yes. So 117 by 3 will give me some number which is 39. Now 121 is not divisible by 3. So this will give me 39. This will give me 40 because we need whole numbers. Okay. 91 will give me a 30 and 181 will give me how much? 60. Right. But also remember, we have not been asked what is the number of people who have answered 4 queries. We have been asked people who have answered more than one. So there was one person who was not included here, one person who was not included here, and one person who was not included here. And that's it. When I add these numbers, I will get my answer. Does that make sense? Guys? Yes? It's a very simple thing. If I have to minimize the number of people, I will maximize the number of queries answered by each person. That's the only logic. Okay? So that is question number 1. Okay? Let's look at question number 2. What is the maximum number of persons from Chennai who answered exactly 3 queries? So now we have been asked exactly 3 queries maximum. So guys, the difference I know is 181. What will I divide it with? If I have to get absolutely divide by 2 and I will get 90 and that's my answer. That's it. Maximum 90 people from Chennai can answer 3 queries. That's it. Question over. Once you understand this, that's the importance of the discussion that we had. Once you understand this funda, right, of 1 into exactly 1, 2 into exactly 2 and so on, these types of sets which may look difficult become like a 1-minute thing. Okay. Let's look at question number 3. Maximum number of persons who answered query 1 and whose age is greater than 20 and less than 50 years is what? Tell me guys, how do we go about it? Because I want to maximize, I will assume extremes, correct? I want maximum between 20 and 50, greater than, not equal to, and less than, not equal to. Please don't do this mistake, okay? So here I have one person, I will give it to 60, okay? Rest 299 will satisfy my condition of being between 20 and 50 and answering query number 1. Okay, because I'm trying to maximize, we will take hypothetical extremes. Is everybody with me? Okay. Question number Delhi. Delhi, I have 18 and 50. 50 is given on purpose so that you get trapped. And you don't have to get trapped because you are careful and you don't assume greater than equal to or less than equal to. Right? So I will remove two people from Delhi, one for 18, one for 50. And I will get 266. Right? Similarly for Kolkata and Chennai, and I will get my answer by adding these four numbers that I get. Right? I will get 242 for Kolkata and I will get 277 for Chennai. And that's it. When I add these numbers, I will have my answer. With me? Yes. So question number 3, again, very straightforward. You just had to add these numbers. Okay. Question number 4. What is the maximum percentage of persons from Delhi who participated in the poll and answered more than one query? Now, guys, if I have to determine maximum percentage of, no, leave alone percentage. If I have to figure out maximum people from Delhi who answered more than one, what will I do? I will assume all 3 and 4 to be zeros. All the 3 answered queries and 4 answered queries to be zeros. And I will attribute all of these 121 people to answering 2 queries. That's it. Because 121 divided by 1. Yes, we have learned that. So the answer will simply be 121 upon number of people in Delhi, which is 998, which will roughly be 12.1% because this is very close to 1000. You didn't even have to do the calculations for this. Now is this set and this concept clear, how simple it is and how you have to think when you are dealing with these kind of fundas where you have to see minimum, maximum in this context? Everybody, are we clear? Any doubts before I move forward? Chalo. So this set, I believe, decently simple set. If you know this concept, uh, how much time would it take? Chalo, you guys tell me. If now that you know this concept, how much time should this set take? 6 to 7 minutes? Yes, very simple, very, very straightforward. Absolutely. Chalo, let's look at set number 2. Okay. All right. So I've been given, there is a colony. There are 3 stores. Okay. Persons who purchase from these 3 stores are this. Not necessarily in the same order. This is the element of twist and complexity in this set. Okay. And it is also known that, and I've been given all sort of indirect clues, right? I'll have to make equations and all of that for this. But the questions, if I look at what is the value of n people who purchase from this, but not this difference, I think the questions are pretty straightforward, right, guys? So let's just approach this. Seems to be a relatively simple set if I'm able to make all the equations and solve them, right? Chalo, let's look at this. Okay. Please pardon my drawing. It's not the best, clearly. So let's say I have this cooked goose, a couch potato, and a basket care. Okay. And I have 222, 248, and 231, and I don't know about it. Okay. But guys, what will be h over here? Will there be any value of any consideration of h in this case? No, right? Because we've been given each of whom purchases groceries from one or more among the 3. Correct? So we will not take any variable outside the Venn. Please always make it a point to check this variable outside the Venn because that is the easiest one to forget. And that's where the tricks lie. Okay. So as we were discussing, um, Let's just give variable names quickly. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And there will be no H. Okay. All right. Number of persons who purchase from all the three stores, which is E, is half the number of person who purchase from exactly two stores. So this is equal to B plus D plus F upon 2. Okay, equation number 1 clear. Number of persons who purchase groceries from only cooked goods, so A, is half of persons who purchase groceries from basket case, which is D plus E plus F plus G upon 2. Okay, cool. Number of persons who purchase groceries from couch potato, which is this whole thing, B plus C plus E plus F, is thrice the number of persons uh, who purchase from exactly two stores, which is B plus D plus F. Okay. I'm just making these equations and I'll start deducing after I have gone through all the clues. Okay. Just so I know where to start from. The number of persons who purchase only from couch potato, which is C, uh, is equal to 8 more than the number of persons who purchase only from basket care, which is G. Okay. All right. So guys, what should be my first thing which I need to figure out in this set? What should be the first thing? The totals, yes. Which store has what? That's the first step. Now, can I write this BDF as 6E? Yes. Can I write this BDF as 6E? Yes. And BCEF was nothing but CP, right? CP is total. That means I know the CP's total has to be a multiple of 6 and the only possibility is 222. Okay, very good, great. We've got one of them. What else? We've got statement number 2 where we know that total of BC is an even number. And of course, it cannot be 222 because that's taken. So this has to be 248. And that leaves me with 231 for CG. Yes, straightforward up till this point. Okay, ठीक है. Now that I know this, what else can I do? Now I know DEFG is 248. So A becomes 124. So I will just put A equal to 124. Yes, 124. Okay. I know BCEF is 222. So I can put E. I can put E as 222 upon 6, which is 37. Okay. Amazing. What else can I do? Now from the circle of CG, I can get B plus D. Yes. B plus D. What will that be, guys? B plus D will be nothing but 231 minus 124 and 37, which is 161. So 70. Yes. Amazing. Now if I put this B plus D in this equation, I know E, I know B plus D, I will get F, right? So 74 and 70. So F becomes 4. I can put F over here as 4. Yes. Cool, cool, cool. So we have gotten these. Now it's very straightforward, I hope. Yes. I have the value of D plus G from this circle. I have the value of B plus D from this circle. I have the value of B plus C from this circle. And I have C equal to 8 plus G. 4 equation, 4 variable. I hope everybody can solve this. Yes. D plus G, B plus D, B plus C, and C equal to 8 plus G. That's it. And the set is over. Anybody, any doubts in this? All right, let's look at the questions in that case. What is the value of n? So value of n will be nothing but 231, this whole 231, plus 155 and 4 and 163. That's it. The sum of these numbers will give me the value of n. Okay, straightforward. Question number 2. What is the number of persons who purchase groceries from cooked goose and basket case, but not from couch potato? 52. Very simple. Okay. What is the difference between the number of persons who purchase groceries only from basket case and the number of person who purchase groceries only from cooked goods. Okay, that's it. Subtracted 31 is your answer. Among the persons who purchase groceries from cooked goods, what is the number of person who purchase from at least two stores? Guys, we have learned this n number of times. At least two stores means exactly two stores and exactly three stores. So I will just add this triangle and I will get my answer. Clear with everybody? Another very simple set. It was just you making calculations and equations and solving them a little smartly. Nothing too complicated. Okay. Let's move to the next set. Okay. Oh, I like this set. This is a very smart set. Okay. Okay. What does the set tell me? Guys, first of all, tell me this. How many of you at the first glance were able to guess that this was a Venn diagram set? I mean, not because it was in a Venn diagram test, but did anybody think of making a matrix or something, a table for this? Okay. Couldn't guess. Okay, 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 okay. All right. So, guys, the simple way to understand that a specific set is a Venn diagram set, right, is if there are multiple overlaps which are happening. Okay. Usually the overlaps are highlighted in the first paragraph itself, or otherwise in the clues, or definitely in the questions, right? Because let's understand this. Even if I take a three set Venn diagram and if I try to make it into a table, right? There will be six rows or six columns depending on how you make it, right? Only A, only B, only C, AB, AC, BC, and ABC. And if I increase it to four elements or maybe more, like in this set, your table and the combinations will go all over the place, right? So please always remember that if you see overlap, just think if this is a Venn diagram set or not, because Venn diagram is a very conceptual topic, and the only way that they can trick you is by making it difficult to identify as a Venn diagram set, right? Like we had this set yesterday as well, right? The rich billionaire and those three detectives sending emails. Even that was slightly difficult to identify as a Venn diagram unless you clearly saw the overlaps. Okay, so let's look at this. Um, I've been given a few clues. I have five questions. There is an if over here, so I'm not sure if I'll get all the numbers or not, right? There's a minimum as well. So I'm decently sure that I would most likely not be able to solve this whole thing. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So company XYZ recruited 80 trainees. It was observed that every trainee had something, something, something. Okay. Now, guys, again, just to make sure, what is going to be the value of the variable outside the Venn diagram? Zero. Because it has been told to us in the very first line that every trainee had at least one, exactly one, so on and so forth. Okay. So that variable will be zero, just to remind you all. Okay. All right. Now, guys, even for those who identified that this was a Venn diagram set, how many Venn diagrams did you make? And how do you think the structure of the Venn diagram should be? Because I believe the learning from this set is how to make a smart Venn diagram structure. So anybody who was able to crack this as a Venn and get a good structure out of it? Okay, let's amazing, amazing. If you were able to, that's very good. Let's discuss and let's see how we can do it. Okay. So I've been told exactly one qualification among BE or ME. So it's either or. At least one feature from reputed college or good academic record. So I will write this as reputed college and good academic record. Okay. Experience in exactly one programming or testing. So again, another either or. So guys, tell me this. How many things can one person hold maximum? From these 6 things that we have been given, what is the maximum number of things a person can hold on their profile? 4. It's a 4 set Venn diagram. That's it. Minimum will be 3. Minimum will be 2, right? Because, no, 3, because we've been told at least 1. So minimum will be 3, but maximum will be 4. That's it. Okay. Now let's see how do I structure the Venn diagram. Okay. The standard. Okay. Let's just. Now, this is the crucial part. What do I name the sets? Each set, what should be the names of those? Because somebody can have both RC and GAR, I will give them their individual set, RC and GAR. Okay. I will name this as BE. Okay. Because I know anybody who's inside this set, inside this part, has a BE, and anybody who's outside this part has an ME. Can I conclude that? Yes. So that's the idea. That's the absolute idea over here. And I will name the last one as programming. Because again, anybody who's inside this has a programming experience. Anybody who's outside this has a testing experience. So this is how I make the Venn for this question. Okay. All right. Let's start looking at our clues. 20 trainees who are BEs, 20 trainees who are BEs, which is within this set, had a good academic record as well as experience in testing. So testing experience means outside programming, and had a good academic record. So let's say this is X, this becomes 20 minus X. Correct? These are the two cells which are being talked about. BE, 20 people, testing experience, and a good academic record. Correct? But also, I have not been told anything about the reputed college part. Hence, I have to take both of those cells. Cool. These trainees form 50% of those with experience in testing. Now, guys, what does this tell me? Total people with testing experience is 40. That means total people with programming experience is also 40. Correct? Right. And I now also know from this that the rest of the sums will be, what do you say? 0? No, sorry, will be 20. Guys, before moving forward, is there anything else from this part itself which I can fill in my Venn diagram? Zeros, absolutely. Guys, point number 2 tells me that a person will have at least one from RC or GR. So anything which is outside RC and GR will be 0. Okay? Very simple, very straightforward. All right, let's look at clue number 2. No trainee with experience in programming, so experience in programming, had both features mentioned in number 2. Can I put this? So if no trainee who had programming experience had both, so there is no overlap between reputed college and good academic record within the programming set. Okay. All right. Clue number 3. 30 trainees were MEs. So which tells me 50 were BE. Okay. ME is 30. All right. So 30 were MEs, of which 15 had experience in programming. Okay. So that means ME is outside the BE set. Yes. And 15 had experience in programming. Other 15 did not have experience in programming. That means they had experience in testing. So these three essentially, oops, just a second, yeah. These three essentially will give me a 15, is what I know. And these two will give me a 15. So I will just hold it for now. Let's see if I can fill some more data before coming to these. Okay. Of the trainees which had experience in testing, okay, which is my top part, 15 were from a reputed college and had a good academic record. So this part becomes 15 minus X. Yes. Okay, great. In total, 45 trainees had a good academic record. So this is 45, of which two-thirds were BEs. Two-thirds were BEs. That means BEs were 30. So if this is 20, this becomes 10. Since I know X and 20 minus X will give me 20. So I will get this 10. And rest has to be the 15, right? Okay. And one-third had experience in programming. So this becomes 5, correct? What else can I put? What else can I put? I know the total is 45. 15 is gone, 30. And 35 and 1 minus is X. So this becomes X minus 5. Correct? We knew that 15 MEs had training in programming, right? So this will be 10. Correct? And programming in total was 40. So this becomes 25. This becomes 15. Correct? Okay. Okay. Great. What else? What else? What else? Um, so rest of the 15 I know had a experience in testing. So the RC only becomes how much? If I know that 15 minus X plus X minus 5 plus this part is equal to 15. This becomes 5. Yes. Very good. And last one cell is remaining for us, which is this intersection. These trainees for 50% of experience in testing. So the whole thing had to be 40. This whole area outside programming has to be 40. So this will also come out to be 5. Correct? And I can also derive the RC total from this now, because 15 minus X and X get cancelled. So I get 15 from there, 30, 40, and 50. And that's it. This Venn is complete. Anybody, any doubts in this? Let's look at the questions. How many of the trainees are BEs with experience in programming and a good academic record? 10. That's it. We all know how to read a Venn diagram. Okay. How many trainees who are MEs are from a reputed college? So this and this, right? But neither had a good academic record, so not this part, nor any experience in programming, so not this part. It's only 5. Correct? Okay, very straightforward again. If 18 BEs had a good academic record, so BE with good academic record is this whole thing, right? But are not from a reputed college. So this part. So that means this is 8. So X becomes 12. This becomes 3. This becomes 7. That's what I've been told. Okay. Then how many MEs are from a reputed college? So this part and this part with a good academic record. So only this part. So it's 3. That's it. 15 minus X is 3. That's my answer. Okay. Let's look at the next question. How many trainees are BEs with experience in programming? BEs and experience in programming, but do not have a good academic record. 15. Very straightforward. All right. So that's the end of this set. I hope there are no doubts. Pretty straightforward. Just you need to correlate the variables, understand reading the 4-set Venn diagram, and of course, most importantly, understanding that this is a Venn diagram. Okay. Shall we move forward, guys? So moving on. All right. I think this set again is on a similar line. Guys, tell me how do we go about this set? So we have 4 people AGHI watched a certain number of movies in a year. The movies they watched during the year were either English movies or Hindi movies. The number of English movies and Hindi movies released during the years are given to us. And at least one of the 4% watched any movie that was released during the year. And then we have some clues. Tell me, what is the approach to this? What is the thought process? How do I know I have to make a Venn? How many Venn do I need to make? Absolutely correct, Ritvik. So I have to make two four-set Venn diagrams. One will be for the four of them watching Hindi movies, and one will be four of them watching English movies. Okay, very straightforward. Let's do that. All right. Okay, let's make the Venn diagrams. Okay. So I have A, G, H, I, and A, G, H, I. Okay. And I have total 200 English movies and 150 Hindi movies. Remember this. Okay. All right. Now, what is to learn in this set apart from, understand that this is a Venn and how to deal with equations is how to not get scared with four set Venn diagram, that to two of them. Okay. And how twisted the language can be and how we can get the best inferences out of those in order to solve the set very quickly and very easily. Okay. Let's start with clue number one. The number of Hindi movies that both Amit and Harish watched were twice. So this is the English diagram, okay? And this is the Hindi diagram. Just saying. Hindi movies that both Amit and Harish watched. So this is the part which can be 2x if this is x. Okay? ठीक है. Harish did not watch any Hindi movie that Amit did not watch. So in Hindi movie, if Amit has not watched, Harish has not watched. So can I put zeros in all of these four places? That's the idea. Yes. That Harish did not watch any Hindi movie that Amit did not watch. So Amit did not watch is the causation over here. So I have to see which are the parts which are outside the set of Amit and inside the set of Harish. And those will become zero. Okay. While Indrajit watched only the movies that Gautam did not watch. Guys, notice here, we have not been given any language. So this is a universal statement for both the Venn diagrams. Okay. Indrajit watched only what Gautam did not watch. So basically, Indrajit and Gautam had a zero overlap. Agreed? Okay. Any movie that Amit watched, Indrajit also watched. Now, this is the other way that they have put the similar statement. That any movie that Amit watched, Indrajit also watched. That means there was no movie outside Indrajit's set which Amit watched. Does that make sense? That Indrajit watched every movie that Amit watched. So Amit cannot watch any movie which is outside Indrajit's set. So this becomes 2x, by the way. Okay, I will just... Okay. So this is what I've been given. Then, while any movie that Indrajit watched, Harish also watched. So again, Indrajit does not have anything which is outside Harish, right? Because Harish watched everything that Indrajit did. So this becomes 0, this becomes 0, this becomes 0, and this becomes 0. Yes, everybody with me up till this point? Okay. Next point. The number of English movies that only Gautam watched, okay, was 20 more than the number of Hindi movies that exactly 3 persons watched. Guys, how did we remember 3 people in a 4-set Venn diagram? The diamond. Don't forget that diamond. Okay. So in Hindi, the diamond only has a value 2x, right? So Gautam watched 20 more than 2x. So it's just 2x plus 20. Okay. Very simple. All right. Last clue. The number of English movies watched by exactly one person, which is 3x plus 20, correct, was 30 more. So basically 3x minus 10 is what I'm looking at. Then the number of English movies watched by exactly 3 people. So again, this becomes 3x minus 10. Okay, very simple. While the number of English movies watched by Indrajit was 20 more than the number of English movies watched by exactly 2 persons. Okay, this would be something, and Indrajit is 20 more than that. So that's all that we need to figure. Now, guys, do we see something in the Hindi one? So, from the Hindi table, we know 150 movies were watched. So, this clearly becomes 150 minus 2x. Yes. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Also, we know the sum of all the numbers in the English set will be 200. Yes. So, guys, I can figure out this value and this value in terms of x using the 200 sum. Correct? And that's it. This will give you both the Venn diagrams in terms of x. Let's answer the questions. Question number 1. What is the difference between the number of Hindi movies that Indrajit... Okay, before we move to questions, guys, is there anything else you feel we should do, given that we had seen that there are words like minimum and maximum in the questions? Is there something else you feel we should do? Can we get a range of x? Can we get the range for x? Yes. So, since I know something is getting subtracted from x, this will give me, one of these will give me the minimum value of x. And that will turn out to be 10 from this one. Okay. And since these two are where x terms are getting subtracted, so I will get the maximum value for x, which will turn out to be 24 from this one. Is that clear? So it's always good if, again, you can do it if the question asks, but it's also good that you can keep it with yourself before the question needs it, right? So I know that x lies between 10 and 24. Okay. Take it. What is the difference between the number of Hindi movies that Indrajit watched? Hindi movies Indrajit watched, okay, and the number of English movies that Gautam watched. English movies that Gautam watched. So Gautam watched how many English movies? Hindi movies that Indrajit watched 2x, and only Gautam watched 2x plus 20. So it's 20, right? Why is this even a question? This was a clue, right? How dumb. What is the maximum number of English movies that both Harish and Indrajit could have watched? Now, could have, that means I need to know the values of X. Okay. Maximum number of English movies that both Harish and Indrajit, so this part, could have watched. So now this turns out to be 230 minus 6x. So since x is in negative, I will take the minimum value of x and I will get my answer. Correct, guys? Again, very straightforward. What is the maximum number of movies that both Gautam and Harish could have watched? Maximum number of movies that both Gautam and Harish could have watched. Okay. Gautam and Harish here is 3x minus 30 and this is 0. So that's it, 3x minus 30. I need to maximize x, right? Which will give me 72 minus 30. 42 will be the answer. And that's it. Question number 3 is also over. Any doubt so far? All right. Let's look at these two questions. What best can be said about the ratio of number of English movies that Gautam watched to the number of Hindi movies that Gautam watched? Okay. English movies that Gautam watched is nothing but 5x minus 10, right? And Hindi movies is 150 minus 2x. Now, guys, since we need to figure out the range, right? Once we will put 10 in both of these, then we will put 24 in both of these. We will get 4 values. Take that ratio and get the answer. It's as simple as that. Yes. So if let's say I have 5x plus 10, correct? And I have 150 minus 2x. ये पूछा है ना? English movies that Gautam watched, which is this, and Hindi movies that Gautam watched, which is this. ठीक है? Now if I put x as 10, I get 60 and I get 130. Sorry, minus 10. My bad. Thank you. 40 and 130. Right? And if I put 24, I will get 110 and 102. So the ratios of this will be nothing but 0.308 to 1.078. That's it. Clear? And last question is just asking which of the following values can be equal. We already have all the values. We just need to see all the options. Okay. And whichever option you hit right, just mark it. And that's all. And that's the end of this set. Is this clear, guys? Any doubts in this set? Anybody who did not understand anything we did? Guys, if there are, please ask. This is the time. This is the last time we are discussing Venn diagram, right? All right, let's move on to the last set. Okay. Total of 500 students study in government high school. Out of these 500 students, 40% are girls and some are boys. Okay. And I have been given 3 activities. So guys, yesterday we discussed something about negative Venn, right? And one of you got out a very good point that if we can see the clues and the questions, and if most of them are towards negative, we can go for negative Venn, and that can help us essentially design our set better, right? So tell me this: when I look at this set, how many Venn diagrams should I make, and what should be those Venn diagrams? Tell me. 2 to 3 sets, okay, okay, 2 to 3, all right. What if I tell you that this needs to be done with one Venn diagram? If you look at clue number 1, 2, 3, 4, all are about total students. Question number 1, 2, 3, 4 are all about total students. So yes, I will maintain a log of boys and girls split, right, in a table maybe. Yes. But Venn diagram will only be needed once. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Let's solve this. Okay, before we solve this, just looking at the questions, guys, what do we feel? Are we going to be able to get all the values or not? There's a cannot be determined in the last question, second last question, and the second question. So I doubt if we will be able to get all the values, right? But let's see. Let's try to do what we can do best. Okay. All right. So let's we have music, dance, and speech. Okay. So just 3 things: music, dance, and speech. All right. I know that girls are 200 and boys are 300. Okay. All students have to select at least one of the following 3 activities. So again, we have been clarified that the value of the variable outside is 0. Okay, very straightforward. All right. Number of students who selected music is 298. So this is 298. Number of students who selected dance is 300. So this is 300. Okay. The number of students who selected all 3 activities is 52. So this is 52. I don't know the split yet, but I know it's 52. Okay. Except for 2 boys, all those who chose dance chose at least one more activity. Now, people tell me, what does this those refer to? Boys or students? Students. This was one of the traps in this set. A lot of aspirants might think that it's talking about within the boys. Don't assume. If it were talking about within the boys, they would have mentioned that among the boys, except for two, so on and so forth. So this is clearly telling us that there are only two boys or two people who have taken only dance, and those are boys. So the first variable is girls in this bracket, second variable is boys. Okay, that's what I'm trying to maintain over here. Okay. Among the students who did not select music, so which is only dance, only singing, and only speech, and both dance and speech. Okay. Among the students who did not select music, the number of boys was 40 more than the number of girls. Okay. Guys, we know there are total 500 students, and we know 298 have taken music. So how many have not taken music? 202 is total boys plus girls who have taken music or who have not taken music. And I have been given that boys minus girl is equal to 40. Yes. So I can just get subtract this and get boys equal to 81 and girls equal to sorry 81 now. 202. Guys, we know total students is 500. We know 298 have chosen music. The clue is telling me the people who have not chosen music, which is 500 minus 298, which is 202. Is it clear now? Yes. Okay, 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 okay. Sorry. So what I was doing this over here, right? So my bad. I interchanged it. If I'm subtracting, girls will be 81, boys will be 121. Yeah. Simple. So this is what I know from people who have not chosen music. So let's just erase the rest of it and mention these things over here. That girls who have not taken music is 81. Boys who have not taken music is 121. Cool. Okay. What else do I know? Sorry. Among the girls, ratio of students who selected only music, okay, only music, exactly two activities, that is music and speech, and exactly two activities, music and dance, was 4 is to 2 is to 3. Now, guys, we know there are 200 girls and 81 have not chosen music, correct? So, basically, I know that 119 have chosen music, okay? Of course, there will be an element within 52 as well, which will be of girls. Don't forget that, okay? So, let's take this as 4G plus 2G plus 3G, right? Plus some part of 54 is going to give me 119. Okay. Okay. And the next clue is similar for boys. So when I subtract this, I get 179. Okay. And I can say the same thing, right? That there are 9B boys who have taken only music, 5B boys who have taken music and speech, and 7B boys who have taken music and dance. Okay. Cool. Now, for a moment, let's just forget this 54 part. Guys, if I add all of this and 52, what will I get? What will I get? 298, correct? We were looking at this m equal to 298. So if I subtract 52, and I will get the sum of all of this, which is going to be 9G plus 21B is equal to 246. I can divide by 3. I will get 3G plus 7B is equal to 82. Correct? Okay. What can I do? What else can I do here? Where do I go next? Batao fatafat. Guys, if you remember, we had learned this. We had learned this. If there are two variables in only one equation, right? We can get the values. Right. So from this, we will get combination of values. Okay. And apart from that, if you remember, we had these totals as well. And I know one thing for sure, that this 9G has to be less than 119 and this 21B has to be less than 179. Do you all remember that? Yes. Are we together? Because I know there is an element of 52 which will come in, which will get added to this in order to make total 179. And same for this to make 119. Correct? So I will get a range of values from this. I will have limits of my ratios, limit of my values from these constraints. And then I will be left with only one value. Yes, Akash is absolutely correct. I will be left with only one value. Okay. Let's quickly see that. Okay. Let me erase this a little, right? So here, since I know G and B have to be minimum 1, correct? So if I remove 7 from 82, I get 75. So G can start from 25 and this will start from 1. Guys, how do we get the next values? Each of them will change by the coefficient of the other. Yes, we have learned this. So this will increase by 3 and this will decrease by 7. Same thing again, same thing again. And that's it. These are the 4 combinations. Now when I apply those constraints, which we were discussing about, 9G has to be less than 119 and 21B has to be less than 179. We will get that this is the only possible combination. Rest everything will be eliminated because from G you will get that these two are not possible and from B you will get that this is not possible, leaving only one combination for you. So I will know the values of this, this and this. Correct? Once I know these 3 values, I will know this value and then this value. And that's it. My Venn diagram is complete. Is everybody clear how we arrived at it? Even though we had only one equation and 2 variables. This is something we have learned. Please keep it in your mind and apply at the right time. Okay? We had the constraints. We had the equation. We figured out the possible values. A lot of students, after they figure out the possible values, they will think that, okay, there were 3 questions which cannot be determined. I'm getting 4 values. That's it. This is the end. But no, not for us. We will remember that yes, there are constraints and I cannot just take any value for G and B. And that is how I will be able to solve this Venn. So these are the values that I will get. And the brackets are talking about the girls and boys number in every breakdown. Okay. Now it's very simple. Yes. Question number 1, which of the following is definitely true? Number of students in only speech is less than number of students in all 3 activities. Correct. Move forward. Right. The number of students who did not select speech is just these 3 numbers. Right. 191. Finish. All right. So how many students selected exactly one activity? We can just add the 3 numbers. correct? And we will get our answer as 145. And this was 107. And the number of girls who selected music and exactly one more activity. So music and exactly one more activity. So this, and that's 55. And that's the end of this set. I know it seemed a little complicated, and there were a couple of questions which cannot be determined. But at the end of the day, I believe it's pretty solvable. The only learning in this specific set was the equation and ratio constraints part. So guys, this brings us to the end of Venn diagram revision. I hope all the big and small concepts are clear to you guys now, right? Please try these sets again if you are not able to solve them in your first go. Okay. And I will see you guys in the next session.